AI is like your digital assistant, is like your coworker, is like you have a whole team that is working for you, and it puts you in a completely different race if you are talking with a human that is not using AI. For example, Anthropic CEO, that is another company like OpenAI from ChatGPT. Anthropic is another one. The CEO said that AI is like having a whole country of geniuses working together at 24/7 at a superhuman speed.
Hello, everyone out there in the Perseverance Pioneer realm. Thank you for watching the Perseverance Mindset Podcast. I am your host, as you know me, John Zedzer, and we're coming to you once again famous from our famous dialogue den here in our studio. And you are listening to our podcast where we decode complexity, discover clarity, and fuel your drive to move forward in life and in technology. One powerful idea at a time. And in today's episode, nothing is short of transformative. That's right. We're moving into artificial intelligence, but not just the buzzwords here. We're talking about how we actually use AI to work smarter, learn faster, and build a future we can be proud of. So joining us today is my good friend and colleague, Diego, born in Ecuador, and now living in Orlando, Florida, the free state of Florida, I'd like to add. Diego holds a master's degree in digital marketing from Spain, graduated as a data scientist in the US, and he's a leading voice in artificial intelligence and machine learning, I might add. So currently, Diego is a data scientist and LLM trainer at the very famous and prestigious firm JPMorgan Chase, and the founder of AI Academy on YouTube and his channel, and the author of the book. I want to say it correctly, but I think, Diego, you might say it better than me. So how do you pronounce the book, sir?
Hey, thank you for inviting me. This is a pleasure. I would love to talk AI every second of my life, honestly. The name of the book in Spanish is Renacer. That pretty much means reborn. I wrote this book in 2020 in the pandemic when I moved to the US. Everything was so uncertain what was going to happen with COVID. And I was just trying to express my thoughts. And then I ended up writing this book. It has a lot of quantum mechanics in it, theory of relativity. Is very philosophical. That's how ChatGPT called it.
Well, we are definitely going to dive into that more, Diego. And again, we wanted to welcome you personally to our dialogue den, to all of our Perseverance pioneers out there watching. And again, we are in this artificial intelligence world, and it's really important to understand all the advancements that are going on and how we're going to unpack that. And it's crazy how it's developed. So let's jump right in with the basics out there on AI, because again, up to about a month or 2 months myself, we've done other episodes on this podcast about the AI arms race, who needs to win the AI arms race, and now we're here with an expert to break this down, how it's changing everyday life. So let's jump into these basics. How is AI enhancing productivity in real terms, essentially? How is it?
So pretty much AI enhances productivity for humans, for teams, and for companies. Pretty much you can use AI in your daily life and enhance ideas. For example, before AI, you go for a walk, you have a couple of ideas in your mind, and you're like, oh my gosh, if I do this, I would really probably hit the jackpot. And now you can do that. Now, while you walk, you can call ChatGPT o3 and you can say, make a whole planning for my company based on this idea. And then you finish your walk, and then you have already a whole plan. You can use it for email management, scheduling meetings, organizing data, and just go deep into the thoughts that you like. Write a book, activate voice mode, and you just talk with ChatGPT about it. If you're a lawyer, use it to go through thousands of documents and books. Doctors, you get quicker information and more accurate diagnostics. Actually, there is a research that ChatGPT put all their models against human doctors, and then they did it again versus human doctors with access to AI. So two races, and both races, AI won the human team by 4. So even the ones who were using AI.
And it's crazy too. You put all the machines on one end, the people, humanity on the other, and who's going to come out the winner? And there's been a track record too of computer man versus machine. If you want to go back to Deep Blue in 1997, defeating a world chess champion when computers were originally created to do these math problems, these supercomputers that used to take up whole walls and whole buildings, now going to like just doing our daily tasks at work and complementing that. It's incredible. So it's more than efficiency, right? You're talking about empowerment, correct?
Exactly. AI is like your digital assistant, is like your coworker, is like you have a whole team that is working for you, and it puts you a completely different race if you are talking with a human that is not using AI, for example. Anthropic CEO, that is another company like OpenAI from ChatGPT. Anthropic is another one. The CEO said that AI is like having a whole country of geniuses working together at 24/7 at a superhuman speed. So imagine 14 million geniuses working, and you only have to send a prompt. So imagine that advantage. And how the real question is, how are you going to use this to get all these possibilities and all the power that it has? So, like, do you really know all the things that ChatGPT has to offer? For example, a lot of people don't know that ChatGPT can schedule tasks. So if I have to go tomorrow to Brazil, for example, like I did a month ago, I said, my flight is at 11 p.m. So at 10 p.m., send me a reminder and go in the web and teach me how to learn Portuguese in 5 hours. That is my whole flight. And that's it. So
That's
it's
just
just,
incredible. It's incredible. Again, I didn't know it could arrange tasks. I've taken the past 2 months to dive in and continuing my education in machine learning and artificial intelligence, but I didn't know it can do tasks like that. Like we're thinking of prompting, like again, a prompt is a task, but timing of it, and it's just a matter of time. It's going to connect the dots on so much other than what we use it for today. And that's more of what you're getting at. So are there any, in addition to that, are there any tool, right? Any tools that you would recommend in your journey, in your AI journey, helping you learn more about AI?
yes. So the best tool, if you have not used AI, and even if you're already a good user, ChatGPT is just the go-to, because is free for a lot of the good features that ChatGPT offers, and is a good starting point. Then, if you're already mastering ChatGPT, I would recommend trying Gemini. That is the Google AI chatbot. If you go based on benchmarks, and when we measure intelligence of these models, and you see which one is the highest performer, is actually Gemini. So Gemini 2.5 Pro is a better model than all the ChatGPT models, and that other people don't know that. So
That's
you
awesome.
move a
And
little bit.
also,
Yeah.
too, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like all of our
Yeah.
perseverance pioneers, all these other like mini systems of artificial intelligence, Chat GPT, Gemini. Now, so let's break those down. Chat GPT is basically the commands, the prompting. What's Gemini? There's one for video, one for images, one for images that make prompt, like systems that make images move. They bring back color. Like, let's break into like some of that fold a little bit, because some I would like to know more myself.
Yeah. So when you go into Google AI Studio, they also have different models that you can choose, exactly as ChatGPT, but they have different models for different purposes. So if you
Okay.
start in Google AI Studio, the first model is going to be Gemini 2.5 Pro. That's the best one for anything. Then you are going to find Gemini 2.0 Flash. That's just a mini version that is if you're looking for speed and you want to put a little bit of performance on the side, but you're looking for fast things that are simple.
Okay.
Then you have Gemini 2.0 um, image generation. So this one is the one that can make images and edit images. But if you don't want to go through all these hassle, you can just do it all in ChatGPT, because ChatGPT o3 has access to all the tools. So you don't have to choose models to get the best tools. The model chooses the tools for you.
That's just incredible. So all those images, all those things on social media, and I like seeing them. I've done some with my family photos as well. So all those images, like you're a coal miner in the year 1900, and you're going to work, and then it has somebody sitting there. They're sitting in the morning in their house. They're walking to work. Then they're doing this. All that is AI, all AI generated. Correct?
Yes, yes, and it's actually very simple to create. That's why this is the best moment for humanity for creation. I think that's why these spaces that we are literally creating content for people who want to learn, people who want to see how does it look, what is your perspective on this. I think that's the most important, because the part of humanity that we have to do jobs that need knowledge is
Yeah.
kind of like being taken over by AI. So now is more, hey, let's do the creative part of humanity. Let's just go and create and brainstorm together, and that, I think that's what's coming.
And that again, I think that's what from what I could see, a lot of firms are doing, and it's I think that's only going to grow, and it's really changing the way we work, and be like, oh, the machine's coming for my job, and be like, I don't know about that just yet. I don't know about that. Maybe it's gonna take some time to develop, but again, AI is always learning and growing and adapting. So, zooming out from that. So, what does that mean? What does AI mean for the future of work, for what we do in our daily lives? So, let's break that down for our listeners out there.
Of course. So this is a pivotal moment. Actually, there is a measurement of compute called the Moore's law that they tell you how many pretty much how much we advance in computing every years, and it's been a constant since the creation of the computer. But after ChatGPT in the end of 2022, that line that was starting to go like diagonal a little bit went up for the first time ever. So we humanity have no idea what this is. It's like pretty much imagine the aliens visiting us, and now we have an alien intelligence that we have no idea. A lot of people think that we know, all the scientist community, how this works. And we do. Pretty much LLMs are just predictors. They just predict the next word. The problem is that we don't know how they predict it. There is a black box inside of it that no one in the world have yet understood how they make these decisions. And that's a lot of people don't know. We know how they work because they are a bunch of algorithms, but we don't know in the deep network, in the deep neural network, pretty much when the neurons connect to each other, the artificial neurons, we don't know what happened. So that's the black box that we wanna do. And then based on the jobs, I think we are gonna see a lot of change on the short term and probably medium term. But on the long term, I think we're gonna just live in a utopia because we have a species that is more intelligent. A lot of people say like, oh yeah, they don't really understand AI, just a little tool. Is a new species. Think about the monkeys. For us, the monkeys are lower intelligence. We are the monkeys of AI.
We do the building block works for the machine now. And just like we're saying, like humans, until this came out, this idea, there's been studies about like certain species that are either close to humans or semi smarter than humans in ways that they live, like animals and humans, all that conversation. But we were the smartest species on Earth. Now it's changing. It's changing. Like this age we're in, basically, it could be the steam engine, the locomotive, the first computers. This is the age we're in. This is where we find ourselves now. So how we interact with this new paradigm, this new big brain, I'll call it, that's what's really going to shape the world. So I think that's what you're getting at.
Yes. And also, what a lot of people don't understand is what's going to happen with the jobs. Sam Altman, that is the CEO of OpenAI, he ran a research on 2024. He said, I'm going to give a universal basic income, monthly, let's say $2,000, $3,000 to 1,000 people. Let's see how this goes. And then he realized that people are actually losing sense of purpose if you don't work, even if you have money.
Correct.
So that's something that we have to consider. What are we going to do? Like, what is based on capitalism, the economy of the world? What is the money? I think we have to repurpose all of that and rethink all of that, because when ChatGPT just came out, you have never asked yourself, what is consciousness, until ChatGPT was created, or at least that was me. What is it? What is intelligence? So now we have to go through the same thought process with the economy, with the money, with like, should we pay somebody for knowledge now that knowledge is a commodity?
It's as incredible. But the one thing is, this AI revolution and AI that we're in this episode today, for all of our listeners out there, this AI revolution is unstoppable. The genie's out of the bottle. It's out. Now it's like, now what are we going to do? Progress that used to take a year now happens, weekly, daily. I mean, if it even takes daily, like you can get, just say, scrolling through reports and PDFs, stuff that used to take hours, like you were mentioning with teachers and lawyers, having to scroll through all this information when they could say, summarize this and give me the product. Collaboration with AI, you have, I believe you mentioned at the beginning of this episode, again, you're into marketing as well yourself, correct? So
actually.
What was that? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I graduated from marketing because all my life I wanted code, but it was too complicated to learn. But when ChatGPT came out, I'm like, nothing is hard anymore. I'm just gonna learn how to code.
It's going to change education. It's going to change the workplace. It's going to change everything. It's revolutionary. And like, imagine again, when you were going from marketing, imagine if someone could have broke down all that data for you. And again, marketing is basically data, getting data and using data to market, sell ideas, sell products, or pitch them, basically, right? And imagine if you had this ChatGPT, this AI, to help you with the schooling. Like it's crazy when you think about it. That's an advantage. That's a competitive advantage. So in addition to all these changes in the workplace, what should we expect as, either working for a larger firm or just a general company, anyone out there? What can we expect with the changes with AI being integrated into more of just daily jobs, daily workplace activities? What would you think about that?
So the main thing is flexibility, learning that like everything is in life, change is a constant. This change is just a little faster than we are used to, but we are good at adapting. That's what we're gonna have to do. Also, something is keep learning, because your profession that before you go ahead, you graduate and that's it, now has to be skilled on a daily basis sometimes, because of how fast technology moves. But don't lose the human connection. Human connection, I think, is important. I think not a lot of jobs that have humans on the front line will be replaced, because I would rather have a human taking my order than order it in a robot. Or I would rather have human connection. Either like, even if robots can do the job, I will still like to have human connection in certain jobs. Not all
Correct.
the jobs, because when I do, for example, when I you don't want to wait 40 minutes on a call center if an AI can take that call, kind of stuff. Probably that's going to happen in the future. Or simply, we're still going to have call centers with AI enhancing our humans too. It depends. There is a lot of things that need to be done here, but the only advice for companies and for people will be just learn and keep learning. And what you're passionate about, this is the moment to push that, because imagine you have your brain strapped to a rocket. That's what's happening right now. So whatever idea you have, whatever you thought you like but it was complicated to do, this is the moment. This is the moment to just go ahead and learn. And don't be afraid. If you don't know how to use ChatGPT, go inside of it and ask, how can I use you?
And
You know,
that's
that's
and it's, I think it's a little, for some, even myself, for some it's a little scary, right? Because say you're like an administrative assistant at a law firm, your job is to go through all the stacks of documents. Now again, yeah, no, your job no longer is that. Now your job is to scan them, which basically sometimes get digital copies, put it into the AI, and the AI is going to give you the summary. So you give that summary to your boss or the person you work for. So it's a little scary at first, but again, like everything, it brings a lot of different things into the picture. And I think that, like, there is a little bit of a hesitancy, because again, people see movies like Terminator and all these other movies and be like, it's going to be a matter of time, they're going to take us out, they'll overtake us. But we still have to train these machines. We still have to interact. Like, I'm sure at many companies there's going to be AI or ChatGPT, or there are other models that they use, and there's always going to be somebody there checking the validity, checking the output, checking what's really happening. I think there was a story in recent news. I think it was I believe it was one of the financial firms out there, and there was a mistake like that was made. It was it was supposed to be for, I guess, $182, and they credited a customer's account. I think it was like a couple billion, and it was like an error, but because there was nobody there to check the output or to check the tasks. So a complete direct would be like, a company would run in to try to save all that money, be like, well, that mistake just costed you. So there's proper use and improper use. So that's what I'll draw on there. So I'm sure there's a lot more to think about, just machines,
yeah.
AI taking into like jobs, and then where it can lead to. Would you agree?
Especially in safety. I think safety is something that people really have to understand. Where is even the problem? Because when you talk to people about, like, yeah, AI might take over the world, but how AI even works, so I can understand what I'm afraid of.
Correct.
I think there is two ways of safety. The first one would be the safety of the language models, like ChatGPT, like Grok,
Mhm.
and the other one will be the safety once we give these language models out, when they have consciousness or when they have autonomous. So right now, ChatGPT works only when you prompt it, right?
Correct.
What happens if you don't have to prompt it and it's always thinking? So, like, you wake up and it already thought about a whole thing, or it doesn't need a prompt to be initiated. It just initiates itself. So that's what's going to happen once we have mainstream humanoid robots.
Which we're seeing at other companies. We're seeing, like, people are getting robots to do warehouse
Yeah,
work, put things on shelves. Police departments across different large cities are using them for safety cameras. They don't do anything, but they're recording. They're on streets and they're assisting. So the integration's already happening. But it's just like, how is it going to be integrated? Like you said, you have to think of a prompt. It's just gonna wake up on a Thursday or a Friday, be like, it's either going to know, hey, at my job I run these reports on these days. It's already going to know that. It's already going to be at that level. And going into this next segment now is one of my favorite angles. So how can AI fuel the curiosity and personal growth needed for us to drive that initiative forward of progress. Like, how can AI do that? I'm curious in what your thoughts are about this as an AI expert like yourself.
Of course. Actually, I love this question because I think this is where the potential is actually in. This is a curiosity engine. You can have little ideas that can transform in whole projects, and soon you might be able to actually put those projects already into effect, because now we don't have one agent that is good at one thing. Now we have something called general agents, that is an agent that has a lot of agents specialized in specific topics. If you want to make a whole company, probably you don't even need, as an entrepreneur, you don't need a director of marketing, director of finances, because you can have an AI agent with a bunch of AI agents under it doing those things. So just fuel your curiosity with AI. If you read a book, use the book with artificial intelligence. If you think about it, if you have a little idea, just use it for everything. I'm going to show you one of the things that I do normally when I want to brainstorm. So I open ChatGPT
Okay.
voice mode, like this one, and I just have a conversation. So, for example, hey, today I'm in the podcast. I told you I was getting prepared to. Do you want to give some insights?
Of course. That's awesome you're on the podcast today. One key insight is to emphasize how AI can be a powerful collaborator rather than just a tool. Highlight how leveraging AI can
So,
significantly.
so the podcast just told me that he's gonna have a whole episode only with AI. Do you think that's a good idea? Like a human and an AI talking together about things?
I think it's a pretty cool idea. It could really showcase how AI can
Of course you
complement.
do. Of course, thank you.
You were a little rude to the AI there. I have to be honest.
Yeah.
It was in the whole bit of a conversation. It was about to break this whole episode open, and you just kind of be like, "Okay, thanks." You know that
And
wasn't very nice.
sometimes I say things at the end so that they remember me when they take over.
Oh God, that's incredible. That just that right there, like just opening it, thinking of it. Don't think about it as like we're long past. Maybe Microsoft Word, Excel, all these like sheets, things like that. Thousands, like those were the skills, right? Like they were. If you had those skills or you had those certifications, they were the top of the line, right? They were the best things you could have. Now we're in the next phase. But that what you just demonstrated, Diego, is awesome. That you're asking AI about a podcast about AI and how and its feedback on where that episode could lead. Like that's revolutionary. Like that'd be like the equivalent of like not having gas cars, but just I guess showing up with something like being in a place where again it was coal powered vehicles, and you're showing up with a gas car and be like, what the hell is this? Like what? Like just people looking would be like they might have thought like I don't know, it was like it was a religious thing, like be like something like the
Yep.
groundbreaking, like
Yep.
nobody could have imagined at the
And for
time.
me, what got groundbreaking is not even what I showed you, is that inside of that voice mode you can activate the camera and have a FaceTime call because it's real-time video.
So there was
So
there was a person generated from the AI the question you asked to have a full-on conversation with the AI. Like that's
yes,
what we're getting at. Yeah.
and I activate the camera. Like I'm gonna give you a use case. For example, my water heater broke last time. I had no idea what has happened, what to do. I had no idea about water heaters. So I opened the voice mode that I showed you, and then I activated the camera.
Okay.
And then what a camera activates is like passing an image every 1 second as an input plus my voice. So I said, hey, my water heater broke. Help me go through it. And he said, okay, show your camera real quick. Let's go through all the angles. And he told me what it is. And I didn't have to hire anybody. And that's how I fix my stuff now.
Jeez.
Yeah, because you have a professional mechanic, a professional scientist, a professional doctor in there.
In your pocket, in your phone,
Yeah.
in your jacket pocket, your jean pocket, your short pocket. Like that's incredible. Like just thinking about it, because I think we think of it like as doing work tasks, right? No, this is far beyond work tasks. This is part of your daily life. Like this, it could be like at one point there wasn't refrigerators, there were bread boxes or cold boxes. Now it's like something it's crucial. It's like a part of your life. Whether how much you know about it or what you don't know, that's what's going to make the difference. So,
yep, and it's an exponential difference.
It becomes a co-pilot for discovery. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's actually, if you're a beginner with AI, don't see it as a tool, because that will be a misconception. If you're a beginner, if you are already a user, you already know that is kind of like a better tool. But if you're a beginner, this is not a tool. See it as a coworker. You have to change the way you communicate with this tool before you even start. So if you communicate with this like you do with Google search, you already did it wrong. You have to communicate with this like you're talking to your coworker that has no context and is new to the firm or to the place that you work or just new to your life, pretty much. So you have to consider it like a coworker, talk to it like a human, give context. Don't be afraid of making it long. If it has to be 20 pages long, throw it 20 pages
Throw
long.
in 20 pages. Yep. Throw in 20
The
pages.
difference in communication really, really is directly related with the quality of the answer you're gonna get. Imagine you have a professional assistant working for you 24/7, and then multiply that by 14 million working together. So
That
really, I recommend it.
breaks it down. And when you even think of that, like you can't even think like 14 million, like you mentioned, 14 million geniuses working nonstop all the time, just thinking about it having in the ethos, right? The synergy of like just having all that information. Like for us, it would be information overload, right? There's no way we could be working 24 hours a day, like just with information about anything you can think of because it has it right there, like at your fingertips. Like what we're talking about, we have to think of it like you're saying is that you're talking to a new colleague or somebody that has no experience with it or just trying to train the machine or the language model. So how do people normally use AI? That's another question for all our listeners that we'd appreciate.
That's a great question, and everybody uses it differently. For example, I use it for sometimes motivation phrases every morning when I wake up. I already want to see a message, a notification in my phone.
Awesome.
I use it for the news a lot, and then pretty much when I'm brainstorming, I was checking my phone how often I'm in ChatGPT per day, and I sometimes hit the 3-4 hours inside of ChatGPT just talking, brainstorming, and learning. So is really everyone. For example, my wife, she likes to use it to get new recipes. She takes a photo on the fridge and see, give me 10 recipes I can do with what I have right now. And the fact that she's been with me since the whole chat GPT revolution happened, kind of like I've helped her how to prompt. So now she's such a good prompter and she prompts for everything literally. Sometimes I just see her and she's like deep into a conversation, learning about what she's studying in college or just learning about what to do next, using it as a therapist, as a marriage counselor. You can use it as everything. If you're a nurse, you can practice. If he's a patient, if you want to talk to Albert Einstein, you can say, hey, imagine you're Albert Einstein, tap into his personality, and based on that, talk to me based on my idea. It's just a lot of things that you can do is gonna be completely changed. So we have in the beginning, GPT-4 was like high school intelligence. The models we have today, that's my cat. The models we have today are PhD level. So they went from, in 1 year, we went from high school intelligence to PhD intelligence. The question is, what comes now? We don't even know how to measure whatever is after PhD. And that's important because this is just the beginning. So how are we going to measure intelligence that we don't even have and we didn't even know existed?
And that's just, it's gonna knock the ball clean out of the park. It's gonna be like that. It's gonna be like that game with Babe Ruth pointing to the sky, hitting the baseball out of the park. Nobody saw this coming. This wasn't left field. This was deep left. This was out. Like it was a tool. Be like, hey, it would be great if it can read these documents for me. Oh, it'd be great if AI can summarize this for me. And it's just like started like that. And then explosion everywhere you look. Somebody's using it. Somebody's taking advantage of it. From gym fitness inspired folks using it to count macros. From people at the office using it to summarize data on PDFs. From like you just mentioned it being like a marriage counselor or somebody that uses it to get new recipes from image or fixing a water heater. Just groundbreaking all around. You can't summarize how revolutionary it is going to be. But with that, it's just when we're thinking about it, let's finish stronger. How do we get the most out of AI ethically and effectively? Because when you're talking about a machine and people's jobs or their personal lives, how can we get the most out of it ethically and effectively? That would be another question.
So the first thing is to understand how these models work. AI is not magic. It's just a smart autocomplete. What this tool does is it just the whole internet, learns everything, and then when you ask a question, it tries to find based on patterns what might be the answer based on everything that it knew. So that's pretty much how they work. They are only as good as your prompts. Keep in mind that you have to be ethic when you use AI. Sometimes might want to disclose that you're using AI, especially for videos or generated images. have the permission of that person. For example, when you are recording any meeting that is going to be AI summarized, for example, or if you are using any kind of knowledge or copyrighted, you just make sure that you learn. And you're probably going to say like, oh my God, that's a lot, I have to go through research. No, just put it in ChatGPT, 3 things, what I need to be aware of, how they work, all of that, answering 2 sentences. That's it. The key of approaching AI intentionally is asking better questions, experiment, try to break it. That's the best thing you can do, because when this just came out, I tried to break it and it was easy to break. Now I spend months trying to break it. And we're never going to be able to break it, because it's going to surpass human intelligence in an overall. So right now it's more intelligent than the average human, but in 2027, 2020, 30, it's expected to surpass all humans together. So imagine how that's going to look, having companies with no humans at all. How is that going to look? Also, don't be afraid to explore new ideas. Nothing is hard anymore. If you want to go learn astrophysics, go learn it. Tell ChatGPT, explain me astrophysics for a 5-year-old, and make a whole layout of how can I learn this. Nothing is complicated. If there is a formula, you can understand it. If there is code that you don't know, you can understand it. Whatever you have in your mind, go deep and enjoy these tools.
And it's just, again, like everything else you're learning. Again, at one time it was books, it was pen and paper, and then it's turned out to be computers in the early 2000s, 2010s, and then iPhone came out, and then it came with Siri. Siri was a huge thing. Now it's just not Siri. Now it's artificial intelligence and AI, and it's playing a role in everything: the workplace, your personal life, other countries. Again, it opens up more things to cybersecurity, like warfare. It's just, there's so much stuff out there that it's going to be a part of every part of the world and the function of the world now. And it's incredible to witness and to be just alive in this time. Again, imagine people being able to fix their own cars, like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, asking a tool. Like, again, this would be something right out of ET. During, like, it would be something like people would look at you, they would come take you away on a stretcher. Be like, listen, this got to go. Like, this person's not, like, what are you talking about? we can't understand. Like, this person's certified out there. Now we're in a time where if you don't think like that, like, you're the one that's kind of the oddball, because what is the limit of artificial intelligence, and where does that leave us? And again, with that, all of our perseverance pioneers, here's the truth out there: AI isn't the enemy. There's this misconception that it's the enemy. It's the evolution for us to work more smartly, for us to do things more efficiently. It's, and used wisely, like Diego was saying, it can help us become more curious, creative, productive, and actually maybe more human with that, as more than ever before. The future doesn't belong to just a small few people in a few smoke-filled rooms. It's to those with the most information. And we all have access to information now. And it belongs to those who know how to use it well, use it correctly. And this episode has just been so eye-opening. So, Diego, thank you for bringing all this to the forefront, and, for the depth, the clarity, and the vision to this conversation. And is there anything you wanted to say lastly before we sign off, and to all of our perseverance pioneers out there, as a final thought for AI?
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. AI is not going to replace your mind. It just can enhance your mind, and you are going to really understand what you're capable of achieving. And finally, I want to give you something to do. Grab your ChatGPT, put it in voice mode, and then grab your partner's phone, download ChatGPT if you don't have it already, and have both of them have a conversation in voice mode, and don't interact, and just see what it takes. It's incredible.
Now that is something I might have to take you up on. It really is incredible. It's revolutionary. Something we probably should have said at the beginning of this conversation is this is not an AI driven conversation. We're not avatars. We're actually people here. I want to let that out there for our listeners. This is a real conversation on this date, May 17, 2025. There's no fake people. There's no AI running this conversation. This is humans to humans about AI. Let's just get that out there. But again, to all of our perseverance pioneers out there, again, Diego, you're welcome to come on and talk about any developments with AI or anything that you feel all of our listeners would like to at any time. I just want to throw that invite out there. Don't forget, keep learning, keep building, and most importantly, keep persevering and learning the AI and learning the machine. So signing off here from the Dialogue Den. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and keep it moving, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.